star so bright. Pull your hat down, make sure your cinch is tight. Horse is kinda snuffy, cold chill up your spine. You'll get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight.
Howdy there, I'm Matt McKinley and we're burning daylight.
In the saddle till the job's done right.
Welcome to Burning Daylight, the only podcast for the working cowboy. Well, howdy there, daylight burners. Welcome back. Happy Friday. Hope you had a good week. Hope you got a good weekend planned ahead of you. This is the Friggin Farm and Ranch Report for Friday, April 10th, 2026. This is the weekly wrap. And so this week, the JBS workers went back to work in Greeley without a contract. Diesel jumped another 24 cents to $5.64 a gallon. USDA's April WASDE report told you what we already knew. There ain't enough cattle, and we got too much wheat. Cash fats held north of 244 in the south. Feeders stayed pretty expensive, and grains chopped a little bit sideways around that report. But farmer sentiment ticked up to 127 on the Purdue barometer. I don't know much about that, but apparently it's a barometer of the farmer feels. But the fine print says that input costs are eating producers alive. Diesel's up 57% year over year. Nitrogen back over $1,000 a ton. And the farmer bridge enrollment window closes on April 17th. So if you haven't signed up yet, quit listening to me. Go do that. But let's go ahead and get into the show. All right. Before we get into the market, though, let's make sure you go and like, subscribe, rate, review, follow, all that nonsense, that the social media stuff you do. Go do all that, and then come back and Substack too. Make sure you get Substack, burningdaylight.substack.com. But I'm on YouTube, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Rumble, I'm on all the stuff. So go check it out. And then make sure you go check out our first sponsor of the show, Lone Star Stockyards. They're out of Wildorado, Texas. They just they sold about 1,200 head on Tuesday, and they've got their spring horse catalog sale coming tomorrow. The open viewing was should probably over by now. It was this evening, but they're 2 hours ahead of me on Central Time. But the sale starts at 11 o'clock. The open viewing starts at 9, I believe. You can ask your questions there, but they won't be showing on live cattle in the morning. The sale itself starts at 11 o'clock. You can watch along live at cci.live or go park your ass in a seat and check it out. Lone Star Stockyards, their number is, like I said, their Tuesday sale at 11 a.m. Always got a Mexican food truck there for the sale. The horse sale tomorrow, Saturday, April 11th, that will kick off at 11 o'clock Central Time sharp. If you got any questions, you can holler. The office is 806-677-0777. A lot of sevens in that number. That's 806-677-0777. Or you can call Bill Martin. He's the owner, 970-302-5834. Or Sheldon Field is the yard manager over there. It's 806-736-0040. All right, let's get into the show, and we'll start with the live cattle. All right, hold on, never mind. Big themes this week. Yeah, JBS is back online. No deal. Diesel stealing your margins. Washington state declaring drought for the 4th year running. The White House is proposing a 19% cut to the USDA's budget, and the Forest Service is moving its headquarters to Salt Lake City. A 2-week ceasefire with Iran that hasn't actually reopened the Strait of Hormuz yet, and Brooke Rollins is catching heat for Easter email. So we got a whole bunch that we're covering up, or we're covering today. Okay, so on the livestock side, where we always start, we got the cattle. April fats finished Thursday at 249.77, up 77 cents on the day. June closed out at 247.20, up $1.27. And the cash trade came in at 246 in the south, steady to $1 higher, and dressed in the north stalled at 210. The board's pressing up against resistance, and cash is still leading, but the leverage is kind of tilted toward the feedlot right now. If you got fats to sell, the packers will actually go ahead and kill them. So April live cattle. All right, feeder cattle. April feeders finished at 372.52, up $1.85. Damn. May feeders 370.42, up 242. And the CME feeder cattle index was at 364.10, down 45 cents on the week. So basically flat. Type placements on the cattle on feed report up 4% on marketing, up 4% on placements, but marketing's down 7% versus a year ago. So that keeps the structural story bullish on feeders. On the slaughter volume, that's where it really gets kind of ugly. The weekly slaughter volume fell from 182,895 for the week ending April 5th. Industry-wide, we're running about 560,000 head per week versus a 730,000 5-year average. So it's 23% below normal packing capacity. And even with the JBS partially back up and running, we're not killing enough cattle to keep up. Okay. All right. And then on the feeders and slaughters. So the big story of the week was JBS Greeley. After a 3-week walkout, the first major beef plant strike since the mid-1980s. 3,800 UFCW Local 7 workers returned to the 5 a.m. shift on Tuesday. But there's no contract. They went back under JBS' last, best, and final offer, and formal negotiations started yesterday, continued on through today. The plant is 7% of national beef processing capacity. My other number said 5. I don't know. Either way, when you're talking in the full percentage points of national processing capacity, it's significant. It's a lot. So it's a big chunk in the cog that is the national beef machine. If talks break down again, analysts are projecting an $8 to $12 per hundredweight discount risk on the heavy fat cattle. So watch the headlines this weekend. We'll see what's going on. All right, on the lean hog side, hogs were at 98.20. May hogs at 98.20. June was at 106.95. The April WASDE cut the 2026 pork production on reduced slaughter, reflecting the March hogs and pigs report, showing lower farrowings. Structurally, it's friendly, but cutout and exports have to keep burning it. Box beef closed out at choice at 328.50 and select at 310.75. Cutout was up 240 this week. The choice select spread is widening, which signals there's an improvement in grading. So the bottom line is the Fed cattle supply is tightening, and cash should push higher next week if the packers need to fill kill slots post the JBS strike. Feeders remain the play for the most part. Buy breaks on April and August contracts. All right. The sale barn double shot. We're adding the horses in, but this segment is brought to you by Atkinson Livestock, the old reliable up in north central Nebraska. They sell cattle right where they live, tucked up on Highway 20 in the middle of ranch country, and they've been doing it long enough to know the difference between a problem cow and a good one that just needs a change of scenery. They sell every Tuesday, week in, week out. I guess that's not exactly right. Don't want to oversell them. They slow down in the summer months and run about once a month, but then they pick back up in the fall. Anyway, they sale on Tuesday, and you got a barn full of buyers that know what they're looking for. So if you want to see what kind of money they're making for people, hit their website up at atkinsonlivestock.com. They've got market reports, upcoming consignments, and video of the cattle. So you can shop, right there from your pickup or the bunkhouse before you ever back your trailer up to the chute. You've got calves to move or bred cows to offer up this year. Give Wes and the guys over at Atkinson a call and let the old reliable go to work for you. Tell him that you heard it on the Friggin Farm and Ranch Report. And what is their number over there? Their office number is 402-925-5141. So that's Atkinson Livestock. Wes Kilmurray is the owner over there, runs that operation. So atkinsonlivestock.com. Give them a holler at 402-925-5141. All right. So the sale barn pulse. I had 5 barns that I had on my tracker this week. Reported a total of 7,249 total head. At an average of 215, 80, 100 weight. Oklahoma City West there in El Reno moved the bulk of them at 3,809 head. Average 675 at 238.72. Billings was pretty hot spot this week, 1,936 head, averaging 821, bringing 295.35. Those northern cattle do sell well. That's real good money. Producers Livestock in Texas had 472 head, 678 pound average at 276.65. Torrington moved 482 head of heavy, 1,316 pound cattle at 139.14. That's coal and fed stuff, kind of the bottom end. Producers in Utah ran 550 head of 656 pound average at 129.12. That doesn't sound right. I'll have to check that number. But tones across the West for this week, where the runs were pretty light and buyers are really reaching on the 4 and 5 weight calves. Replacement heifer demand is exceptionally strong, so got light calves and good heifers. This is a good time to sell them if that's what you're looking to do. Okay. On the horse side, all of this information came from my new app, A Man About a Horse. I'm also that thing's going to be pretty cool. Building it out right now. If you'd like to take a look at it, please let me know. Shoot me a DM or email, matt@burning-daylight.com, or any of the social medias. Shoot me a DM over there, and I'll send you a link if you're interested. It's pretty cool. But anyway, all the sale barn information I got was through this program that I've built. The coal market index that I've created on that deal tells you what the coal market looks like. It's a 0 to 1 rating, and this week was a 0.62. That was up from a 0.58 last week. So the kill flyer buyer floor is rising on tight packer supply, and per round rates are trending above 55 cents a pound for the first time since early 2025, first quarter, if I remember right. But the market signals on that looks like the broke ranch geldings are bringing, this is grade horses, are bringing somewhere in the 12 to 2,800 bucks a head. This is all loose horse sales through the sale barn. Registered quarter horses that are ranch broke are bringing good money, 2,800 to 6,000 range. Killblier floor is running anywhere from 48 to 58 cents a pound. Grade mares are not doing real well. They're soft at bringing from 250 to 600 bucks a piece. Unstarted yearlings, not many worth getting a look at them. 150 to 500 bucks. And trending down, BLM Mustangs that are gentled are running from 3 to 900, holding steady. The Fallon over at Fallon Livestock Exchange on April 5th, they moved 34 head, average of 485 bucks a head. Kill floor was at 52 cents a pound. If you listened to the show yesterday, you already heard this, but I'm just going to repeat it because kill floor over there was at 52 cents a pound, and the top private treaty sale at 2,200 bucks. Solid ranch geldings moved well. The thin and old stock sat at the kill buyer floor, and the BLM Mustangs were pretty slow. OKC West in El Reno was a pretty hot barn. Moved 128 head, biggest run of the month. And they were commanding premiums, but grade mares not selling worth a damn. Shasta, California, 52 head, broke ranch horses, drawing strong private interests, and yearlings were pretty soft. Top private sale at 3,500 bucks. And Claw, Washington was a pretty light run at 41 head. Drafts and draft cross were moving pretty good. Ponies and minis, not so much. And kill buyers were active on the thin stock. So on the horses, bottom line is if you got good broke geldings to sell, it's a good market for them. And if you're buying colts or grade mares, you can get them for pretty cheap, it seems like. All right, on the grain side, with the WASDE coming out this week, and the report was about as exciting as watching paint dry in the wind. May corn is 450 or 445 to 450 range. Monday closed at 449, down a nickel. The WASDE left the 2025 2026 ending stocks unchanged at 127 billion bushels, right at the average trade guess, and nudged the season price up to 455. No real fireworks. Just kind of in that same range. Soybeans around 11.58, down 8.5 cents Monday, and then they were pretty soft all week. Comfortable global supplies. South American competition kind of keeps a lid on things. WASDE left ending stocks at 350 million bushels. That was unchanged. And for cattle feeders buying meal at 318 or 311.80, your feed bill didn't really blow up this week, but didn't get much cheaper. On the wheat side, May Chicago wheat 598, up nearly 3 cents on Monday. WASDE bumped the ending stocks up to 938 million bushels. That's the highest that we've had since 2019, 2020. But the market hung in there on the Black Sea tension and the Southern Plains drought. Wheat really wants to rally on the risk premiums right now, but not on the scarcity. There is no scarcity at the moment. So the takeaway on the WASDE was the corn was basically unchanged. The beans were basically unchanged, and the wheat stocks were bigger, but the price was higher. And the report confirmed that, kind of what we've all been saying is use the rallies to get something done. If you're selling grain and if you're feeding cattle, your feed bill is going to hold steady and probably not going to drop any lower. All right. Let's see. On the inputs and the macros, this is the part of the ledger that's really doing the hurting. Diesel, the national average for highway diesel was $5.64 a gallon for the week of April 6th. It's up 24 cents from last week, up over $2 from a year ago, 4.5% jump in 1 week, and 57% higher year over year. So doesn't matter what you're doing, if you're just, running a truck, you're feeding cattle, you're hauling hay, you're putting miles on your pickup. The single biggest cost of the cost story of the week is just that. So either one line item on your budget is a rounding error compared to what diesel. Every other line item on your budget is a rounding error compared to what the diesel just did to you. On the crude side, West Texas index is hanging in the high 90s, close up to $100 still, down from the 110 that was earlier, but still high. War premium is fully embedded from the Iran deal. And even with the ceasefire, the Strait of Hormuz is barely trickling through. As far as I know, only a couple tankers have gone through since the ceasefire was announced. And part of that has to do with the war part, and then part of it has to do with the toll that Iran is charging, and it's something like $2 million a ship, or like $1 a barrel of oil, I think, something along those lines. So if they start paying that, that's just also going to get baked into all the cost. JP Morgan warned today that oil could retest wartime highs if the Hormuz flows don't normalize by July. So your diesel bill is not going down anytime soon, it looks like. Fertilizer, DAP 682 a ton, urea is 549, potash at 398, and nitrogen's back over 1,000 a ton in some markets. The tariff impacts are very real. The fertilizer imports are down 33% from the exempt countries, and then from the countries that are tariff affected, they're down 47%. So that's that leads to scarcity in the domestic market, and then it's a tax on the tariff stuff as a direct tax on every acre that gets planted. So on the lending rates, FSA farm operating loans 4.75 for April, prime rate is 7.75, and the feeder finance at 8.25. Nothing's getting cheaper there. Farmer sentiment side, the Purdue Ag Economy Barometer rose to 127 in March. It was up from 116 in February. The second straight month of improvement, but it's still below where it was in March of last year. And producers have flagged rising input costs as the number one concern. Not a big surprise there. Okay. On the stock side, the S&P finished out around 58.42. Dow was at 42.150. Nasdaq at 18.325. Up slightly on all fronts. Gold was flirting with $2,200 an ounce. None of that pays your fuel bill, but it tells you that the macro crowd sees that inflation is going to stick around. But bottom line is that diesel's the headline, and fertilizer is a big body blow, and interest rates are just keep hitting you in the mouth. So this week raised your cost of of doing anything. The cost went up, and you didn't have to do anything. All right, on the drought side, drought and weather. April 9th, we reported 50.18% of the U.S. and Puerto Rico in a moderate drought or worse, up slightly from 50.07% last week. 60% of the lower 48 is in drought. The needle didn't really move much nationally, but the West got worse. Drought and dryness worsened across the West, the Southwest, and the mid-Atlantic. Southern plains are still really ugly. 100% in drought with significant acreage in the D3 and D4 range. Yeah, so if you're running cattle down there, it's everything's on a real short leash. Washington State declared its 4th consecutive drought emergency on April 8th. Snowpack at 50% of normal, even though the winter precipitation came in at 104%. So it just came as rain instead of snow, and the state's distributing $3 million in emergency grants. So that matters for hay and forage and water-dependent ranches across the entire Pacific Northwest. But bright spot, the Central Corn Belt got a drink, 2 to 5 inches of rain, improved conditions in Iowa, Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, and then parts of Texas, Oklahoma, and Louisiana. Sets up better soil moisture for planting, but also means muddy yards and slow field work. But I guess it's not all bad news on that. So doesn't make much of a difference to you if you're hurting, but it's not everybody's hurting, I suppose. So there's bright spots out to be found out there. All right, on the ag news side, we'll kind of cycle through the biggest stories of the week. And we had 6 pretty big ones this week. Number 1 was the JBS strike ending. Workers are back, but there's no contract. We covered it already, but it does bear repeating. So it was 3-week walkout. It was the first major beef plant strike since the 80s. The Hormuz plant, I forget where that was, but 3,800 workers in all back on the line Tuesday. JBS agreed to reopen negotiations yesterday and today, but there is no signed deal. Plant is a huge percent of the national capacity. So if it falls apart again, the cattle back up fast, and then the discounts really hit for the heavy fat cattle. Really hits them hard. So keep an eye on that. It's a real son of a bitch, that whole thing. Number 2, we didn't cover this one earlier, but it's a pretty significant one. The White House proposes a 19% cut to the USDA budget for the fiscal year 2027. Budget proposal slashes discretionary funding by $4.9 billion from about $25.7 billion down to $20.8 billion. Food for Peace was zeroed out completely. Cuts to rural programs, ag research, and the Agricultural Marketing Service, or AMS, including organic programs. It is a proposal, not a law, but it signals where the White House head is at, and that's not prioritizing federal Farm Service Agency stuff, which could be a good thing, but we'll see. Number 3, the FBA enrollment closes on April 17th. So if you're a row crop producer and you have not enrolled in the Farmer Bridge Assistance Program, you have a week to do so. There's payments of up to $155 per producer. There's $11 billion on the table. Apply online through the FSA. I guess don't leave the money at $155,000 per producer, up to $155,000 per producer. What's it for? Is this like tariff relief? I don't know. Anyhow, so the Farmer Bridge Assistance Program, the deadline's April 17th. So if that's something you're looking at, keep that on your outlook. All right, so on the 4th story, April WASDE said less meat and steady grain. The total red meat and poultry production was lowered for 2026. Beef production cut on fewer steers and heifers. Pork production lowered on reduced farrowing. Beef exports lowered on slow early 2026 shipments. Corn and bean ending stocks are unchanged. Wheat stocks up to 938 million bushels. Structurally higher meat complex supports your calf and fat prices, but also means that grocery store beef stays expensive through the demand, enough that the demand risk is very real. So as of right now, demand is still high, even though the grocery store prices are very high, but it won't stay that way forever. I don't think. At some point, people will find a cheaper protein source if beef gets too high, which I don't want to see that, but I think it'll happen. So keep an eye on that. Number 5, the Forest Service headquarters are moving from DC to Salt Lake City. It was announced March 31st, but it's still kind of making waves. Forest Service is going to relocate to the Bennett Federal Building in downtown Salt Lake City, shifting about 260 employees to the west, closing all 9 regional offices and replacing them with 15 state-based directors and 6 operational hubs in Albuquerque, New Mexico, Athens, I guess that'd be Athens, Georgia, Fort Collins, Colorado, Madison, Wisconsin, Missoula, Montana, and Placerville, California. So that's not too far from me. Fire and aviation stays out of Boise untouched. But if you run cows on Forest Service allotments, your permitting, your grazing management, and your point of contact is about to change. Your state directors instead of the regional foresters means a different chain of command for allotment renewals and range improvements and fire rehab. Montana's Missoula office becomes a state director in Helena, and Wyoming gets Cheyenne, covering 3 states. Idaho gets its own in Boise, and the transition is where things are going to get lost or delayed or reevaluated. If you have a grazing permit renewal, a NEPA process, or a range improvement project in the pipeline, confirm right now where your file sits and who's handling it before they start shuffling chairs this summer. Utah has 8 million acres of Forest Service land, and Nevada's got pretty significant allotments on the Humboldt Toyabe, which is right here in my neck of the woods. So it's not some abstract project. It is happening, and there will be some sort of transition process. Whether it's a smooth one or not, I would lean probably towards not, but we shall see. But keep an eye on that. Yeah, there we are. Okay. On the war reel, not necessarily because we like doing this, but every time some shooting starts around the oil fields and the shipping lanes, your diesel bill and your fertilizer tab go up and up and up. So we'll start with Iran because that's where all the real stuff is. The chain of events from this week. So Iran and the U.S. and allies agreed to a 2-week ceasefire window on Monday, but on the water, it's been more of a pause. There's been a couple Iranian-backed militia attacks in Iraq and Syria that they were kind of held under control by U.S. air defense. The Houthis in Yemen fired off a few more drones towards Red Sea shipping lanes that got shot down. And an Iranian fast boat probed tankers near the Strait of Hormuz before backing off when U.S. and British naval patrols closed in. None of that shut the lanes off completely, but it kept the insurance premiums incredibly high, and the traffic was very cautious and slow. On Hormuz specifically, the flows ticked up a little bit from last week, but we're still well under normal. And so it's just barely a trickle instead of, opening the flow. Tanker operators are staggering departures and sailing in convoys when they can. paying through the nose for the war risk coverage, and then also for the toll that they have to pay from to Iran. And I think they have to do it in crypto, maybe, and that's probably because of all the sanctions on Iran. But anyway, this is why crude is still hanging around that $100 a barrel mark, even with the ceasefire in place. The market doesn't believe that this thing is settled. I don't necessarily think so either. But the market thinks everybody's just reloading. And the biggest thing is that it hits it makes a big difference to agriculture, because every barrel that struggles to get through the Hormuz Strait shows up as an extra dime or quarter or 50 cents or $1 on your diesel pump, and an extra couple bucks on your fertilizer freight. The shipping lines are already passing through higher bunker fuel costs and and war risk surcharges on grain and fertilizer and container traffic. But that's the transmission belt from some, like, jihadi on a gunboat in the Persian Gulf Strait. But that all has an effect on your hay truck and your feed deliveries and the bill for your next load of fertilizer. So the open source intelligence people on Twitter and Telegram have been hammering the same point all week, that this is a war premium market and it's not a peacetime market. And you can see it in options pricing on crude, and in the way every little headline, jars the market a buck or two, even when nothing really happens. So the best way to think about it back at the ranch is that to budget your fuel and fertilizer at the high end of the range for the rest of 2026, and treat any price break as a gift and not something to expect next week. So like if you see a little dip in fuel, buy it, because it's probably going back up. On the Russia-Ukraine front, not covering a whole lot there today, because I just want to cover what affects us here. But this does affect us. The Black Sea grain exports kept moving this week, but they're under heavier insurance cost and constant risk of drone strike, especially on like port infrastructure. And that's a steady risk premium under the world wheat and corn floor, that even with the big stocks that we have, which is part of why your local wheat bid hasn't completely fallen out off the shelf. That corridor ever actually gets shut down again, it doesn't make the U.S. grain scarce, but it does really whip your futures and your basis around enough to matter for the feeders and the crop guys trying to hedge for feed or production, feed for production. So bottom line on that is the Iran and its proxies are keeping a hand on the spigot in the Hormuz Strait and the Red Sea, and then Russia and Ukraine are keeping a thumb on the world wheat scale. And you're paying the tab on diesel, fertilizer, freight, and the price volatility. And you don't get a vote on foreign policy, so we don't get a say on how you budget. You just got to plan for the high prices, basically. That long story short, there is just budget for high inputs. That's kind of all you can do. But if the war risk does back off, you can put some of that savings toward paying down your note, buying some more cows. They're not getting any cheaper, and buying some more of everything that you might need, because it's not going down anytime soon either. All right, we'll ease off on the doom and gloom, and we'll talk a little bit of Baldus to close it out. But the A's are starting to get back on track. They've picked up a win in their last two series. They beat the Astros at home, and they beat the Yankees in the Bronx. 2 out of 3 on both. Jeffrey Springs pitched a absolute gem the other night. 7 shutout innings, 1 hit, 6 punch outs, and 2 walks. 90, 93, 94 pitches total. Really good performance by the lefty. And the Rockies, I'm wearing my Rockies hat because I've got a little bit of hope injected. The Broncos ownership group just bought out 40% stake in the ownership of the Rockies. The Monforts are still holding the majority stake, so they're probably still going to be terrible, but this does give me some hope for the future because the Broncos do try to win on a regular basis. I know it hasn't shown much in the last decade, but the last couple of years show anything that they are serious about winning some football games. So that gives me a little bit of hope for the Rockies. And the Rockies are playing really good ball right now. They're hovering right around 500. I think they're a game back of 500. They lost on a walk-off salami in the 10th inning against the Padres last night. So, but that put them on the losing side of 500. But they were at 500, and they swept the Astros, I think. Really playing pretty good balls. So I think they've blown past the risk of breaking the all-time loss records. So if they're not going to do that, we might as well root them on winning. So let's go Roccos. Maybe we'll see a new tune being played there in Denver. We'll see. Blake Street's looking up. And the A's getting back on track. The pitching is still a one giant question mark outside of Jeffrey Springs, but that offense can bang, and they have been doing so. And I'm looking forward. There's a lot of good matchups going on this weekend. The A's just picked up the first game against the Mets 4-0, and I won that bet as well. So great work from the A's, and we'll see if the Rockies can bounce back against the Padres tonight. All right, on this day in history, April 10th, 1912, the Titanic steamed out of Southampton on her first and only voyage, billed as basically unsinkable right up until it met one chunk of ice that disagreed. It's a reminder that somebody tells you the market can't go down, fats, corn, land prices, whatever, that's when you start checking where the lifeboats are. Make sure you know damn well how your hedge account actually works. Actually, little known fact, I guess it's become more known over the past few years, but some of the loudest voices against the creation of the Federal Reserve Bank were aboard the Titanic and went down with it, and thus making it easier for the institution of the Federal Reserve to take place. And if you listen to Ron Paul or me, mostly Ron Paul, I just kind of parroted what Ron Paul said. The Federal Reserve is the main problem. It's what runs all the inflation. It's what has put our currency into fiat status. Well, that and Nixon helped do that really took an axe to it by taking us off the gold standard. But anyhow, the Federal Reserve, Woodrow Wilson, single-handedly the worst president in U.S. history. Sorry, Joe Biden. Sorry, Donald Trump. You don't get that title. That is clearly Woodrow Wilson. But anyways, Titanic left Southampton Harbor on this day in 1912. I'll go a little bit further back. On April 10th, 1815, Mount Tambora blew sky high in Indonesia. It's one of the biggest volcanic eruption in recorded history. It helped set up the year without a summer, and it wrecked crops across half the world. Compared to that, a cranky WASDE and a 24-cent jump in diesel are not the apocalypse, but they are a reminder that weather and black swan stuff can humble even the best laid farm and ranch plans in about 5 minutes. And fast forward to April 10th, 1998, The Good Friday Agreement got signed in Northern Ireland and finally put a lid on decades of bombs and bloodshed known as the Troubles. The Troubles. That's proof that even ugly, long-running fights eventually get some kind of off-ramp, which is worth remembering when we talk about Iran or Russia or whoever else we're trying to meddle around in. Venezuela, Cuba, who knows. Anyway, and then for this week, we're going to end on an oddball story. And this was from our favorite laboratory of bad decisions. It's a place known as Florida. Down in Lehigh Acres last month, a transport driver was hired to haul a brand new Porsche. It was worth about 6 figures. It was sitting in an enclosed trailer from South Florida to a buyer up in the Midwest. So it was a Porsche and like 2 scooters, I think, like motorized scooters. But instead of leaving it in the trailer and doing the job he was paid to do, deputies say he unhooked his own car and then pulled the Porsche out and took it on a joyride around town, including to the DMV to renew his driver's license. The owner was watching the car's tracking data and saw that his in-transit Porsche was just cruising around Lehigh Acres instead of on I-75, and he called it in. The deputies used that tracking information to find him at the DMV behind the wheel of the car he was supposed to be delivering, and they hauled him off on a stack of charges. So the Porsche didn't get wrecked, and the driver and the trailer didn't get wrecked, and nobody went to the hospital. No damage, but the guy went to look really cool when he renewed his license, and somebody with a car worth 6 figures probably has a way to look at it. So turns out they did, and yeah. So little reminder to try to know who's hauling your cattle and stuff next time, or your grain to an elevator, or your paperwork to some alphabet soup office. Most people do the job right, but every now and then there's a jackass that takes your Porsche for a spin instead of delivering it to you like he said he was going to. So anyways, on this day, our lesson is pretty simple: that ships can sink, volcanoes do erupt, and peace deals will eventually get signed. Nobody's usually very happy about it. And somewhere in Florida, there is some guy doing something that will make you shake your head and laugh and probably shit your pants all at the same time. Anyway, keep your lifeboats ready on that one. Keep an eye on the weather and do the job that you're supposed to do. All right. Well, that's all I've got for today. But before we get out of here, tip of the hat to the new sponsors, Lone Star Stockyards and Atkinson Livestock Market. The old reliable Lone Star's down in Wildorado, Texas. They're outside of Amarillo. Atkinson's up in central Nebraska on Highway 20. Both of them selling cattle every Tuesday. So check them out. And thanks to those guys for sponsoring the show. Thanks to you guys for listening. Please go follow me. Rate, review, subscribe, follow, like, share, retweet, all of that good stuff. Do it all. Burning daylight. Go subscribe to the Substack and check out these apps that I'm building. I think you're going to like them. Like I said, if you, especially if you train horses for a living and you see a lot of horses, hit me up. I think we could do something. You could help me out, and maybe I could help you out. We don't know. I don't know. We'll see. But anyways, thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next week for more episodes of the Friggin' Farm and Ranch Report. But thanks for tuning in. I'm Matt McKinley, and move your ass. We're burning daylight. Go Rockies. Go A's. Your eyes up in the morning beneath the stars so bright.
hat down, make sure your cinch is tight. Horse is kinda snuffy, cold chill up your spine. We'll get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight. Burning daylight. Burning daylight. In the saddle till the job's done right. Just together, and you won't catch 'em all. But when you ride through the gate, make sure you sit up tall. I can see the horizon, it's looking pretty bright. Well, get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight.